And we continue our surprisingly deep dive into the mind of Greg Heffley with part 4, Dog Days. It's easily the most different Wimpy Kid book in the series so far. Why? Because instead of taking place during middle school like the others, Greg recounts his experiences from summer. Also on this book cover, Thanos snapped and turns the title to dust, so that's different. Although it changes up the formula to the series, the main character is still the same guy, so let's take a look at some instances in the book when he reveals his true nature. There's a part where Greg's talking about his relationship with Rowley and how Rowley somehow believes Greg is rich. It was a misunderstanding because the Heffleys had some special festive toilet paper that led Rowley to ask if his best friend's family was rich. He directly says, I wasn't gonna pass up the opportunity to impress him, and answers yes to having a lot of money, which is a complete lie. Why is this interesting, you may ask? Because it seems like Greg never wants to make himself look bad, even if it takes lying to do that. No matter what, he'll make himself out to be the good guy just to impress others. Under normal circumstances, it would be expected for any middle schooler to do something like this, but after seeing just how many times Greg does it in his journals, you'd probably raise an eyebrow. Sociopaths often may disregard the truth if it makes themselves look much better, which is a constant in just about every Wimpy Kid book along with Dog Days. In some of these pages, he once again exaggerates how rich and famous he'll be in the future, this time going as far as to plan his very own museum. A few years ago, I started collecting my personal mementos, like book reports and old toys and stuff like that, because when my museum opens, I want to make sure it's packed with interesting things from my life. Greg has a heightened sense of narcissism, which seems to escalate as his journals continue. Of course, he's almost definitely not going to become what he imagines himself to, but that doesn't stop him from exaggerating and telling everyone lies that he'll be famous. If you've been following this Inside the Mind of Greg Heffley series, you're probably aware of all the awful ways he treats Rowley, and things once again are pretty bad here. In one situation, they owed money to someone, and so Greg had the amazing idea to start up a lawn mowing service. The only catch was that Rowley had to do all the work mowing the lawns in the bright sun, while Greg would sit in the shade to start working on their business plan. Luckily, Rowley figured out what was going on and decided to leave the job, but that resulted in something pretty interesting written by the Wimpy Kid. The truth is, I don't need Rowley anyway. If this lawn service business grows the way I think it will, I'm gonna have about 100 Rowleys working for me. Well, initially this just seems like the typical reaction. Take a deeper look at the way he used the word Rowley in this context. He's basically implying that Rowley can be interchanged with just about anyone else. It confirms once again that Greg only sees his so-called best friend as an empty shell to do stuff for him. When Greg writes this, he also implies that he does none of the work himself, while 100 Rowley replacements would do literally everything. Back in Roderick Rules, we were introduced to the idea that Greg is the way he is now because of how he was treated in the past by other people, though we should also question if he's just blaming everyone else because he truly doesn't believe he's a bad person. In this book, he mentions how he's super lazy and doesn't do work now, blaming the entire education system when he was young. It's weird that he rarely admits when things are his own fault, though. Throughout the rest of Dog Days, there weren't too many other examples of Greg being a sociopath or a terrible person. I mean, he also thought extremely highly about himself when stalking Heather Hills at the pool, but that's what we expect him to do at this point. Maybe it was a vastly different change of setting and style that resulted in less things worth analyzing in Dog Days, but either way, it definitely seems like Greg is setting himself up for a terrible future path. Anyway, next up in the series, we'll be tackling The Ugly Truth, which explores even further the relationship between these two best friends. Will Greg ever change? Let's find out together whenever I decide to release part 5. But anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more awesome cartoon videos. Give a thumbs up and comment below, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.